Katlego, thank you so much for your time, this morning. Just talk to us about what are we likely to hear from the minister. As we've said in that intro, it's been a kind of a unsustainable way in terms of looking at what's been happening on the electricity front, particularly as you would recall, following President Cyril Ramaphosa's SONA address, where things, went downhill from there.
Definitely. A very good morning to you, Unati, and to our viewers at home. Well, the Electricity Minister, Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, expected to take to the podium at the top of 10 to just give us an update in terms of the country's energy action plan. As you know very well, that this has been somewhat of a footprint or blueprint that the government has been using to update the nation in terms of their fight to ensure that there's energy security in the country as we speak right now. So last week, we saw Eskom really battling to keep the lights on. We saw stage 4 of load shedding being implemented, this being on Wednesday going into Thursday. This because we saw 6 units lost, 5 from Kendal Power Station, and there was 1 at Duva, a power station that more or less thrusted Eskom into a crisis mode, looking at how then we saw things stabilize a bit from that stage 6 of load shedding that kicked in at the beginning of the year. And what we saw as well here, Unati, was the fact that we know very well that this particular update here by the minister comes through after a budget, after the State of the Nation address. And you're right to say that we saw the president make those pronouncements around where we find ourselves, but also coming through at a time, Unati, when we know very well that on the 1st of March, Eskom will see its new CEO installed there and taking over office. So we're expecting to more or less get a sense of the preparations for him to assume office, as we know very well that Andre de Ruyter's position has been vacant and unacting in that particular regard. But what South Africans want to hear, Unati, is the lights are being on. We're going into the elections, and there's uncertainty around issues of energy security. Businesses have been struggling to really make ends meet as we speak right now, and there have been a lot of efforts and noises coming from various sectors, including the private sector and even businesses, big businesses that have been calling for cushion from the government where the load shedding crisis is concerned. So we're expecting to see the minister really give us a sense of what led to those 6 units, losing or being taken offline. We're hearing that there was a situation, an incident at Kendal Power Station last week that saw them really wanting to or moving to ensure that they take these units out. But we saw the emergency reserves kicking in over the weekend, and now we're hovering around stage 2 and stage 3 of load shedding that will kick in the afternoon, as we see Eskom as well telling us that they're looking at recovering around 3,000 or so of those megawatts by Wednesday. Unati?
So, of course, we know, Katlego, the Energy Action Plan has a number of role players, that submit to it and implement to it and play a key role to it. Are we going to see the minister alone? Will he be accompanied by perhaps Eskom executives? Who is likely to then, just support the minister today?
Well, usually the minister will host these briefings just alongside Eskom officials. We know that the spokesperson of Eskom, Daphne Mukwena, will always just be on the side of the minister as well, so that they speak from the same hymn book when you look at what has been happening there. And the minister gets updates from, Eskom themselves in terms of how things have been going throughout the week. That's when he'll be able to then give us an outlook of what we can expect going forward. So we are likely to see those Eskom executives, some of them joining the minister this morning to also just give us a sense of how they are preparing the ground for the new CEO who will take over from the 1st of March.